Jeopardy! Today's contestants are Player 1, Player 2, Player 3, and now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Brevet.
Thank you, Johnny. Hi, everyone. Here comes the Jeopardy round. So here are the categories for you. Words. The Old Testament. Presidential campaigns. USA. Stars and their roles. And optical illusions. All right, let's get back into this. Player 1 has control of the board. Deuteronomy may mean second law, but it's this number book of the Old Testament. Player 1? Yeah! Correct. Player 1, pick again. This book says Noah's Ark was 300 cubits in length, making it about 500 feet long. It's Player 1. That's right. Way to go. Player 1. Pick again. She was magazine editor Miranda Priestley, who fiendishly wore Prada. Let's hear it, Player 3. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? We're talking about Meryl Streep. Player 1, pick again. Don't detach this, which is next to the choroid and changes light rays into neural signals. Okay, Player 2. No. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Player 3? No, that's not right. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Yes, Player 1? No, that's not right. Oh! Here's the correct response. Retina. Please pick again, Player 1. Hope you studied this eye part that, at its maximum contraction in an adult, may be less than 1 millimeter in diameter. Player 3? Good. Player 3, you start us off. He was Julian Kay, an American gigolo. Okay, Player 3. That's it. Player 3, choose again. In 2005, this actor walked the line as Johnny Cash. Player 3? No, that's not right. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? We're talking about Joaquin Phoenix. We return to you, player 3. Jacob and this other twin son of Rebekah even struggled against each other in their mother's womb. Let's hear it, player 1. No. Any other takers? Let's hear it, player 3. Right you are. Player 3, back to you for our next selection. In Samuel 28, the prophet Samuel appears to King Saul and predicts his defeat by this group. Yes, player 2. That is correct. You're out of the hole. Player 2, you start us off. The name of the ukulele means flea in the native language of this state, where it was introduced by the Portuguese. Okay, player 2. That's it. Please pick again, player 2. The state nut of Alabama isn't your kooky cousin. It's this thin-shelled pie ingredient. Okay, player 2. That is correct. Please pick again, player 2. Caroling to the animals is a holiday tradition at the Lincoln Park Zoo in this Midwest city. Okay, player 3. No, that's not right. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's what we want. Chicago. We return to you, player 2. Its state song says, "Follow the old Kit Carson trail until desert meets the hills." Yes, player 3? That's not right. Anyone else? The correct response is Nevada. Player 2, pick again. A campaign slogan in 1964 said, "All the way with these 3 letters." Let's hear it, player 2. No. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Okay, player 3. Good. Player 3, you start. If you say, "I'm eating a hot dog with this," you could mean a chopped pickle topping or just plain enjoyment. Yes, player 2. That is correct. Player 2, start us. "I pledge you, I pledge myself to a new deal for the American people," he said in accepting his 1932 nomination. It's player 2. That's correct. Player 2, pick again. Chat about this in your chat room. Chat is merely a shortened form of this 7-letter word. Player 2. That is correct. You get to pick again, Player 2. This name for a work of art that you may carve in art class comes from the Latin for to carve. Let's hear it, Player 2. That's right. Way to go. You again, Player 2. Alphabetically, this southern state's counties run from Adams to Yazoo. Here's what we want. Mississippi. Player 2, choose again. The name of these small towers often seen on castles comes from the Old French for small towers. The correct response is turrets. Player 2, pick again. According to the Bible, she was not only Abraham's wife, she was also his half-sister. Yes, Player 3? Good. Player 3, you start. From the Latin for almost last, it means, next to last. It's Player 2. Right. A lot of clues, a lot of categories. Player 2, make a selection. Here's Jimmy to start us off.
To allow your eyes to see clearly at varying distances, fibers called the zonules of Zinn change the shape of this eye part that focuses light onto the retina.
It's Player 1. Good. All right, let's get back into this. Player 1 has control of the board. Drivers know the point where the optic nerve enters the eye has no rods or cones and goes by this 2-word term. Here's the correct response. Blind spot. Select again. The sclera and this consist of tough tissues that make up the outer layer of the eyeball and give it strength. Here's the correct response. The cornea. Player 1, you pick again, please. He was Heathcliff to Merle Oberon's Cathy in 1939's Wuthering Heights. Let's hear it, Player 3. Correct. Hey, you're on the plus side. Where do we begin, Player 3? He was Charlie Chaplin in a 1992 biopic. Okay, Player 3. Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else? Here's the correct response. Robert Downey Jr. You again, Player 3. The 1976 ticket of Jimmy Carter and this running mate was dubbed Fritz and Grits. We're talking about Walter Mondale. Player 3, choose again. In 1916, he campaigned under the slogan, "He kept us out of war." Yes, player 2. Good. And the last clue for $1,000. Answer, the Daily Double. You are currently in the lead. So what's your wager? Okay, here is the clue. The Whigs used a log cabin as a symbol in his 1840 campaign. Even so, you are still in the lead. We're talking about William Henry Harrison. The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this.
Now it's time for Correct Order. The player who places the elements in the correct order in the least amount of time wins. Put these baseball sluggers in order by career home run total from fewest to most. And the Minigame Champ Award goes to the player who won the minigame. Player 2.
Clues are worth $400 to $2,000 in these categories. Amelia Earhart. Tea Time. A Side of Kevin Bacon. The Vatican. Fictional Characters. And Arctic Animals. All right, player 3, as promised, you pick first. Kevin had to go to space camp before playing the role of Jack Swigert in this film. Yes, player 1? Anyone else? Let's hear it, player 3. Yes. Player 3, you pick again, please. Kevin had a cup of coffee in this 1982 Barry Levinson ensemble piece with chums Mickey Rourke, Paul Reiser, and Tim Daly. Let's hear it, player 3. You got it. Good. Back on the plus side. You again, player 3. Holy triskaidekaphobia. Special effects guru Tom Savini had an arrow shoved through Kevin's throat in this 1980 flick. Okay, player 2. Any other takers? We're talking about Friday the 13th. Player 3, choose again. Kevin could handle the truth as Captain Jack Ross in this 1992 legal drama written by Aaron Sorkin. Player 2. Player 2, you start. In The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, Lucy gets into an old wardrobe and discovers this magical land. Let's hear it, Player 1. That is correct. Player 1, start us. Snip, Snap, and Snurr, who star in a series of books, are brothers from this Scandinavian country. Yes, Player 1? Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? It's Player 2. Yes. Player 2, where do we start? In the grim tale, The 12 Dancing Princesses, 12 sisters dance so much that they wear out these every night. Okay, Player 1. On the plus side again. Player 1, make a selection, please, as we... This orphan befriends a goat herd named Peter when she's sent to live with her grandfather in the Swiss Alps. Here's the correct response. Heidi. Select again. Answer, the first of the daily doubles. You're in second now, but with an opportunity to catch up a bit. How much are you going to wager, Player 1? Answer this. She's the title heroine of Green Gables in a classic 1908 book. Good. Player 1, you pick again, please. This large bee of the genus Bombus can range from Tierra del Fuego in South America to far beyond the Arctic Circle? It's player 2. Good. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, player 2. Crispin of Viterbo was the first one of these created by John Paul II. Okay, player 1. Yes. Where do we begin, player 1? You may not use cell phones or felt-tip pens when researching in the secret these. Let's hear it, player 1. That is correct. Select again. Kevin played Ensign Pulver in the TV remake of this 1955 movie. Player 1. That's correct. Player 1, choose again. It's the T in ATM, or physicist Edward. Player 1. Right. Yeah! You get to pick again, player 1. It can mean to veer or to go sour as applied to milk. Yes, player 3. Right. Player 3, you start us off. Another name for a billy club or a policeman's baton. Okay, player 2. Nope. Any other takers? It's player 1. Right. All right, let's get back into this. Player 1 has control of the board. Amelia's first plane was bright yellow and named for this songbird. Okay, player 3. Right. Player 3, start us. In June of 1928, Amelia became the first woman to fly across this body of water, though she was only a passenger. Let's hear it, player 2. Good. Player 2, you're in command of the board as we continue right now. It's a sustained pull applied mechanically to correct fractured or dislocated bones. Let's hear it, Player 2. Good. Please pick again, Player 2. In some religious beliefs, it's the process of transference of a soul into another body at death. It's Player 2. Ooh, sorry. That's incorrect. Anyone else? The correct response, transmigration. Player 2, choose again. As fall turns to winter, the Arctic A. lagopus, produces less pigment and changes from brown to white. Let's hear it, Player 2. Yes.
Yeah! Woo!
Player 2, back to you for our next selection. The faithful can make offerings via cash or credit card to the fund called This Man's Pence. Player 2. No, sorry. Any other takers? Let's hear it, Player 3. Right. Player 3, you start us off. Here's Sarah.
Polar bears are well equipped for Arctic weather. Not only do they have thick fur and a layer of insulating fat, but their skin is this color, which helps it absorb the sun's rays.
It's Player 2. Right. Player 2, you start. Greenland right whales have the longest of these thin plates of any whale. They may reach 13 feet. Okay, Player 1. Right. Where do we begin, Player 1? Alaska pipelines were constructed so as to allow this Arctic deer unimpeded passage to feeding grounds. It's Player 2. Right you are. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 2, you make the next selection as we continue. Amelia was promised her independence when she married a member of this prominent publishing family. Player 2. Yes. You get to pick again, Player 2. The Inventario Manoscritti room is part of this Vatican building. Yes, Player 1? That's right. Way to go. Player 1, where do we start? The four papal these churches include St. Peter's and St. John Lateran. Yes, Player 2. You are correct. Player 2, you start us off. On her last flight, Amelia Earhart took off from this large island. Player 1? No. Anyone else? Player 3? And we'll wrap up the board with this clue. Answer, the second daily double. Player 3, you're in last place. So what's your wager? Answer this. In 1935, Amelia flew solo in about 18 hours from Wheeler Field in this state to Oakland, California. No, that's not right. Here's the response we were looking for. Hawaii. All three of you will participate in Final Jeopardy right after this.
Now it's time for Final Jeopardy Stumpers. These are Final Jeopardy clues from the show that no one was able to solve. Can you come up with the right response? Here's the clue. His only competitive Oscar win was for Best Score in 1973 for a 1952 film in which he had starred as a washed-up comic. And the Minigame Champ Award goes to the player who won the minigame, Player 2. The correct response, Charlie Chaplin.
Here comes the final.
Too bad. It looks like no one got it.
Midwest topography. You need to select your wager. Let's take a look at the last clue. This state has the largest sand dunes complex in the United States, just north of a river named for its flatness. Your response? And that correct response will add... What did you say? And that correct response will add... And your response? And that will set you back. Congratulations, Player 1. You are our new champion. Good game, everyone, and thank you so much for playing.
is Jeopardy! Introducing today's contestants. Player 1. Player 2. Player 3. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Brevet.
Thank you, Johnny. Hi, folks, and welcome. Here comes the Jeopardy round. For this game, the categories are: what's the word? You're in denial. Made to measure. Name the novel. Quotable notables. And celebs. Player 1, you start. She must have been in seventh heaven when her autobiography and I Am Me CDs both reached number 1. Okay, Player 1. Player 1, pick again. This Spider-Man and Cider House Rules star is pals with Leonardo DiCaprio. Yes, Player 1? Hey, you're right. Player 1, pick again. In 2010, this talk show hostess replaced Paula Abdul as a judge on American Idol. It's Player 2. Correct. A lot of clues, a lot of categories. Player 2, make a selection. On a snail, an omatophore is a stalk with this at the end. It's Player 2. Good. You get to pick again, Player 2. 1813. Happy for all her maternal feelings was the day Mrs. Bennet got rid of her 2 most deserving daughters. Here's the correct response. Pride and Prejudice. Player 2, you pick again, please. 1932. In the 4,000 rooms of the center, the 4,000 electric clocks simultaneously struck 4. Okay, Player 2. Please pick again, Player 2. 1937. I have chosen Mr. Baggins, and that ought to be enough for all of you. Okay, Player 2. That's correct. Player 2, pick again. 1902. The horror. The horror. Let's hear it, Player 1. That is correct. Player 1, you start. This colorful branch of the Nile River begins at Lake Tana in Ethiopia. Player 3. Good. Player 3, you start. In 1902, construction was completed on the first dam on the Nile at this southern Egyptian city. Yes, Player 1? Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Okay, Player 3. No, that's not right. Any other takers? Okay, Player 2. Yes.
Yeah! Woo!
Player 2, start us. If you set some Chinese punk on fire, it's because Chinese punk is this, from the Latin for set on fire. Okay, Player 3. Great, you're back into it now. Player 3, where do we start? A shako is a stiff, cylindrical one of these worn by soldiers. We're talking about a hat. Please pick again, Player 3. A center of Egypt's rice trade, this Nile Delta city lends its name to an important translating stone. Let's hear it, Player 2. Right. Where do we begin, Player 2? This ancient Greek historian called Egypt the gift of the Nile. Player 1? That's right. Way to go. Player 1, start us. In Asia, use a gu if you want to measure a cup of this for an electric cooker. Player 2. That is correct. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 2, you make the next selection as we continue. Of about 30, 50, or 100 inches a year, the Earth's average annual amount of precipitation. It's player 2. Right. Player 2, choose again. The world will note that the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, a military base. Let's hear it, player 2. Any other takers? Let's hear it, player 1. Good for you. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, player 1. Traitors are not gentlemen, my good friends. They don't understand being treated like gentlemen. Player 2. Good. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 2. 1976 will not be a year of politics as usual. Okay, player 3. Nope. Sorry. Anyone else? It's player 1. Right. Player 1, you're in command of the board as we continue right now. I shall not seek, and I will not accept the nomination of my party for another term as your president. It's player 2. Good. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 2, you make the next 1961. Once upon a time, there was a Martian named Valentine Michael Smith. Player 2. Nope. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Okay, player 3. Good for you. And you're back into some money. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, player 3. Make us. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence. Yes, player 3? Hey, you're right. We return to you, player 3. Answer. It's the Daily Double. Player 3, you're in last place, but here's an opportunity to decide on your... And the Daily Double clue. Despite an interruption from Kanye, she won for Best Female Video at the 2009 MTV Video Music Awards. Right. We return to you, player 3. This star of The Princess Diaries and The Devil Wears Prada has the same name as Shakespeare's wife. Yes, player 1? That's correct. Where do we begin, player 1? It's the medium on which you're traveling if you're in a hoy. Okay, player 3? No. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Here's the correct response. Water. Select again. If you've got quinsy, also known as tonsillitis, you've got swelling in this part of your body. Okay, player 1? That's not it. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Yes, player 2. That is correct. Player 2, you start us off. Take a nibble if you want 4 of these binary units of computer code. Okay, player 1. Any other takers? Let's hear it, player 2. That's incorrect. Any other takers? Let's hear it, player 3. Right you are. Okay, let's get back into this. Player 3, you make the next selection as we... Here's Kelly from our Clue Crew with the clue.
An ancient boat, nearly 150 feet long, was found in 1954 by archaeologists investigating the Great Pyramid on this Egyptian plateau.
It's player 2. Yes. Player 2, you're in command of the board as we continue right now. This unit equals 4 inches when measuring an equus caballos. Here's what we were looking for. Hand. Here's the $1,000 clue for you. Nellis Air Force Base has 70,000 solar panels, which produce 15 of these units, 25% of the base's summer power. Yes, player one? Nope. Sorry. Any other takers? Okay, player two. Anyone else? Player three? Player one is in third place, which means, of course, player one will select first in Double Jeopardy.
Now it's time for Point It Out with the Clue Crew. We'll show you some pictures with each Clue Crew member standing next to a possible response. In poker, it's also known as a dead man's hand. All right, here's the clue. Okay, player one. Nope, afraid not. Anyone else? Okay, player two. Which one is it? Better luck next time. On with the show.
We start the Double Jeopardy categories with this one. Graphic novels on film. Characters in literature. Emperors. Name that planet. Very, very good. And Nigeria. Player one, you start. In the wake of a recent demotion, this is now the outermost planet. It's player two. You are correct.
Yeah! Woo!
A lot of clues, a lot of categories. Player two, make a selection. History diverges from this film, as the Spartans also had over 1,000 men from other Greek cities fighting at Thermopylae. Okay, player one. Yes. Okay, let's get back into this. Player one, you make the next selection as we continue. Opposition led by Santa Anna limited the reign of this country's Augustine I to 10 months. Player two. That is correct. A lot of clues, a lot of categories. Player two, make a selection. As part of its 19th century territorial expansions, this nation colonized the Nigerian port of Lagos in 1861. Here's the response we were looking for. Great Britain. Johnny Depp is in England on the trail of this serial killer in the Alan Moore-inspired film From Hell. Let's hear it, player two. Right. Player 2, back to you for our next selection. Tom Hanks takes his son on a violent mission of retribution against a gangster boss in this film. Here's what we were looking for. Road to Perdition. You get to pick again, Player 2. Sadly, 1994's The Crow, about a man who comes back from the dead, was the last for this star. Yes, Player 1? Yes. Player 1, where do we start? This treacherous pirate in Treasure Island has a pet parrot named Captain Flint. Okay, Player 2. That is correct. Player 2, where do we start? A gray spider named Charlotte brings about a series of miracles to keep this pig from the butcher's knife. Player 1? That's right. Way to go. All right, let's get back into this. Player 1 has control of the board. Sarah will present this clue.
The cartouche seen here denotes this emperor, the ruler of Heliopolis.
Okay, Player 2. Anyone else? Let's hear it, Player 1. No, sorry. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Okay, Player 3. Nope. Sorry. Here's what we were looking for. Ramses. Player 1, back to you. Dawes Butler voiced this animated TV hound. Player 3? Correct. Player 3, where do we start? These are forever in a top 10 hit from 1967. Here's what we want. Strawberry Fields. You again, Player 3. Pro boxers have been battling under this Marcus's rules since the late 1800s. Okay, player 3. Right. Please pick again, player 3. Alfonso VI, who died in Toledo in 1109, called himself Emperor of two religions, Christianity and this. Okay, player 1. That's incorrect. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? The correct response, Islam. Please pick again, player 3. Last name of Louis, brother and father of French emperors. We're talking about Bonaparte. We return to you, player 3. Known for his satire, Wole Soyinka became the first black African winner of this prize for literature in 1986. Let's hear it, player 1. Sorry, that's wrong. Any other takers? Okay, player 2. You got it. Where do we begin, player 2? Thora Birch and Scarlett Johansson are friends who move in together after high school in this spooky film. Yes, player 1? Hey, you're right. Player 1, you start. This E.L. Doctorow title character joins Dutch Schultz's gang as a 15-year-old in 1930s New York City. We're talking about Billy Bathgate. Player 1, pick again. Tom Sawyer saw him murder Dr. Robinson in the cemetery and testified against him in court. Let's hear it, player 1. Player 1, back to you. Let's go over to Sarah.
The traditional masks of comedy and tragedy were used by characters in ancient Greek drama. They're thought to have represented the twin sides of this god of wine and revelry.
Let's hear it, player 2. That is correct. Player 2, start us. He was crowned emperor on Christmas Day 800. It's player 1. Sorry, that's wrong. Any other takers? Let's hear it, player 3. Yes. Player 3, where do we start? Title Avenue in Theodore Geisel's first book. Player 3, you are correct. Player 3, back to you. Answer, the first of the 2 daily doubles. You're in second place, so what is your wager going to be? Please enter your wager. Answer this. About a third of Nigeria's states in the heavily Muslim north follow this Islamic law system. The lead is also yours. Select again. Christian Huygens wrote about this planet's rings back in 1659. It's player 2. Yep. Player 2, you start. Inept policeman in Shakespeare's Much Ado About Nothing. Player 2. Yes. We return to you, player 2. Nigeria's first planned city. It was built in the 1980s and officially dedicated as the nation's new capital in 1991. It's player 1. Right. Player 1, start us. Following ethnic clashes in 1966, the eastern part of Nigeria declared itself the Republic of this in 1967. We're talking about Biafra. Player 1, back to you. A year on this planet is 88 days long. It's player 1. That is correct. Please pick again, player 1. Answer. The other daily double. Player 1, you're in last place. So, what's your wager? Answer. The great red spot on this planet is actually a giant storm. The lead is also yours. And we'll wrap up the board with this clue. Instrument-laden rovers landed on this planet in 2004. It's player 2. That's it. I'll see you all for Final Jeopardy in just a moment.
Now it's time for correct order. The player who places the elements in the correct order in the least amount of time wins. Put these cities in order from west to east. You've been crowned the minigame champ, Player 1. Congratulations! A prize has been unlocked.
Here's the final Jeopardy category. African cities. Please enter your wager. This is a good category. Here's the clue for Africa's most populous city not on a navigable body of water. Its settlers didn't need water when they had gold. Let's see your response. With that correct response, you will gain... What did you say? And this correct response will add how much to your score? Let's see your response. And this correct response will add how much to your score? Yeah! Congratulations, Player 2. You are our new champion. So long.